Children of porn stars, sex workers, what was it like growing up? I was blissfully unaware until my mid-20s. She didn't hide it very well, but I was a kid. Thankfully this was pre-internet and no one as far as I knew figured it out. Well, she put me up for adoption when I was very young. I was then adopted into a family in which my adoptive father would constantly berate me, saying that I would end up as a whore like my mother when he was angry at me growing up. I sometimes wonder if I would have been better off never getting adopted. I hate how 99 of the comments are jokes. I actually want to hear answers. Went to school with a girl who would always tell everyone my mom is a porn star every chance she got from middle school all the way to graduating high school. Said she hated her because of it. She was never in her life because she got swallowed up by the drugs and the porn star crazy party lifestyle. So she only had her father and that's it. Everyone kind of dismissed it because they thought she was full of shit. Fast forward about 3 years after high school, I started a new job and met this lady who was like everyone's crazy mom at work, sort of thing. Cool lady. One day I was having a conversation with some coworkers about her and they kept saying she was a porn star back in the day. I dismissed it thinking they were just talking shit and trying to mess with the new guy, or maybe Jesse didn't like this lady for whatever reason. So one day, funny enough, I was having a conversation with this lady about the high school I went to, and she said, "Oh, my daughter went to that high school and graduated the same year you did." When I asked her what the daughter name was, sure enough it was the girl I went to school with, and it all clicked and right there. Previous thread on this topic with tons of serious answers. My bestie has a mother who is a prostitute. Was back when she was younger and still is. My bestie told me that growing up was rough. When she told some classmates what her mom does for a living, she got bullied for some years. After they moved and she went to a new school, she always lied about her mom because she was ashamed and scared. Nowadays, she's fine with it and tells people openly about it. The worst story she told me though, was when she was around 6-7 years old. She said her parents left her in a car to gamble some money. They just wanted a quick spin, but it turned into hours. Finally she went inside and asked a server if she could help her find her mom. The server apparently had a look of shock and disgust for the parents, which honestly, I understand not to be judgmental. But I guess sex workers, drugs and gambling are sometimes going hand in hand. Bestie said it was totally normal for her as a kid and nowadays has went through a lot of therapy to deal with all those things. What I got out of it is, it isn't easy for a child that doesn't understand what's happening and what exactly she does. This gonna be on a TikTok with Minecraft Parker in the background. Obligatory, not me but someone I know, but a lad I went to school with had a dad who done gay porn. Never asked him about it as I didn't want anyone to know I was watching that, but the son himself now has an OnlyFans. My mum was a prostitute from the age of 16 to 19. I would say I had a good upbringing. I was lucky in the sense I got to travel and see nice places, and we lived in a nice house with nice things. The thing was she was a pretty neglectful mom, would leave me and my sister home alone some weekends when we were around 7 to 10. She drank heavily. If you spoke to her she was able to seem very put together and easygoing. Had a lot of people tell me how amazing my mum is, and it would get annoying because people had such a different view from the mum that would get blackout drunk at home and attack her kids because she always thought we were trying to kill her. I'm 26 now and don't even live in the same country as her anymore. But we do still talk, and I love her. She doesn't drink anymore, but she is very manipulative. I don't know if she always has been or if I see it now. BC, I'm not close to her. She will tell me I gave up my family for a man, and how wrong that is. She has always been upset that I have only ever been with one man and says she feels bad for me that I haven't gotten to know more men. Very weird. Warped things, but she can be very loving and say the most beautiful things. PFFT Ig. Nice to rant about it, thank you. Pretty bizarre at times. Looking back, mum definitely had a couple of personality disorders which drive her, but nobody ever looks closely at that when the cameras roll. She hated aging and was very obsessed by her looks. She was overly sharing with me from a very young age about sex, and her sex advice, which by the way I never even asked for, was thrown my way at every opportunity. I'm still not convinced a 9-year-old needed to learn all about her threesome blowjob scene, but there you go. My mom was a stripper in San Francisco who worked for Artie and Jim Mitchell during the height of 80s excess. Worked the Green Door, Deja Vu, Crazy Horse and Marquisant. Cinema. Got loads of stories about being 4-5 years old surrounded by strippers and their tales with Sam Cunt, an SF staple of a strip club owner, and his ties to NY Mob. My dad eventually worked for Sam also and went on to produce 90s porn. They both went to AVN 1995 and met Ron Jeremy. A kid at my school had a mom that did Hustler magazine and various nudes. We never mentioned it to him. I'm sure he knew though. He was very popular, but mainly because we all wanted to go over to his to see his hot mom all the time. Kids would be begging and offering to do his homework just so they could hang with him at his house. You will get better answers in about 15 years considering the rapid incline due to OnlyFans and other sites. My parents threw swinger parties in our basement. It was weird seeing people at the grocery or church that I had seen at my house the night before. I knew one kid in high school whose mother was a porn star. So many kids talked about it. I never witnessed anyone making fun of him, but I'm sure it happened. But I never bothered the kid. He was a cool dude and never bothered anyone. I'm sure some kids bothered him, but he seems to be doing well for himself. Immediately after my parents divorced when I was 16, my mom started hooking up with men for money. She was a stay-at-home mom before this and my dad left her with basically nothing. She told me that was the only way she could pay for my school clothes, shoes, etc. I was so angry though. I felt like she was so quick to move on from my dad by doing this. I was really struggling with him just abandoning us out of the blue, no warning. I just wanted my mom to get a regular job, but she didn't want to. She always came up with excuses about why she couldn't work. I hated her for it for years. We have a better relationship now. But I definitely feel like she put me in the middle of some of these interactions and I'm not okay with that. I'm 33 now and don't even live in the same country, but it's something that bothers me a lot when I think about. A friend of mine's his mum did a load of porn tapes back between 88 and 94 when my mate was about 1314 and 88. He grew up messed up having guys pop around for a few HRS, and guy and his mum disappeared into bedrooms etc. or he would be sent to stay with friends etc. for weekends. Was a very messed up time for him as everyone knew what his mum was doing and mates had seen tapes etc. and abused him for it. When he turned 15 my grandparents took him in until university and from then he never spoke with his mum again. He's been mentally messed for best part of 30 years and decided to leave UK in 2007 for Canada where he works in construction. Sadly he's had several relationships fail in past due to his belief that men and women had to act and be the same way. He's now married to a phenomenal understanding wife but he still has moments. His mum wasn't an international porn star, but more a national porn star in UK. Back then they would film themselves, then sell DVDs around pubs and clubs throughout UK and under-counter video stores and sex shops. Not that I know much about this as I'm a good Christian fella. I dated a woman who makes her living on OnlyFans Pornhub, not a star, but able to make a living. She was a single mom with 3 kids, same dad, passed away. Worst living conditions I've ever seen and worst behaved children I've ever met. I only stayed the few weeks I did because I wasn't doing great mentally at the time and was making bad decisions. That included I'm from Nevada, and there was a kid that I went to school with and played organized football and basketball with whose mom was a legal prostitute at a legal brothel. It's legal in most of Nevada, but only a few of us knew and no one gave him any talk about it. An ex-friend of my wife and I had a 16-year-old son who took his own life due to her choices. She had OnlyFans and was very vocal about it. Kids at his school were paying for her subscription and passing the videos all around. He came to my son and I about it and I approached his mom. She made it that I was slut-shaming her and had no right to be in her business. I told her what her son said and how badly it was hurting him. Her response was to tell him that if he didn't like how she paid for his nice things and fed him he could get out. She made a video with one of the teachers from the school shortly after and the day after she posted it he took his life. Afterwards things took a really bad turn at the school. Texts and videos of his harassment came to light. Kids were threatening other kids. Parents were getting threats. It was a horrible situation.